welcome to the Village of Rock Solid Relationships. And what is today, Reese?
Today is First Fruit Sunday, and I cannot believe that we are back again for another amazing Sunday.
Yeah. And this is a wonderful place where we support each other and we bring tools and tips and wonderful information for your marriage, for your partnership, for your blooming relationship, your blossoming relationship.
Blossoming, or
yes. We actually work with plenty of premarital couples daily. And in these interactions, we coach couples and we help them to get to the next level of their relationships.
We wanted to talk about today is actually sort of a continuation or maybe just like a deeper dive of what we started to talk about last week, right, VaLisa? So last week, if you guys remember, if you were here with us last week, if you didn't, go back and check out the video from last Sunday, First Fruit Sunday. But what we talked about was the idea of the importance of turning towards your partner as opposed to turning away from your partner. In other words, you know, whenever your partner makes a bid for affection or communication or connection, the research shows that the couples that are happiest in their relationships, in their marriages, the couples whose marriages go the distance, do really well at responding to one another's bids for affection, for attention, for communication. So this week we want to kind of take it to the next level and discuss something that happens that's really, really important when you do this very well. When you are very intentional about consistently turning towards your partner and instead of turning away. And so some of you have probably already heard about this concept of a love bank or emotional love bank. And we wanted to just kind of talk to you guys about both of them because they really do have the same type of information. It may be slightly different, you know, terms that they use to really describe the same idea of the importance of depositing positive things into your relationship. And so first, you probably have heard of the book, His Needs, Her Needs by William Harley. And so that was the first time I believe that the love bank, the concept was introduced in his book.
Yeah. I think that was the first time I really heard about it.
Yeah.
When we read that book.
And then also a very wildly popular book by Stephen Covey, you know, the 7 Habits, right? Highly effective people, right? He also talks about this idea of an emotional bank account. And so we're going to kind of talk a little bit about both of their perspectives and share with you guys some of the specific ways that they described that you can make these positive deposits into your love bank. And every time that you essentially are turning towards your partner, right, we talked about the power of yes. So every time you say yes, you're actually making a very powerful and sometimes large deposit into your love bank. So,
absolutely.
So VaLisa, what do we know? What does the research tell us about happy couples versus unhappy couples when it comes to that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just wanted to say the difference in between happy couples and unhappy couples is actually how they manage their emotional bank account.
Right.
So that was something that I actually thought was pretty interesting when I first read it. And this was in the beginning of our marriage. I feel like the first year of our marriage, we took a course at our church, and it was based on the book His Needs, Her Needs.
Yeah, we still have that book.
You know, we all know about a bank account and how to maintain one. Some of us maintain it a little better in our later years than we did in our earlier years.
Right.
But do you guys remember bouncing a check? When you actually thought the funds were there and you go to, this is when we had checks, and I would go to the grocery store and I'd say, oh yeah, you know, the rent, you know, they ain't going to come out for another 3 or 4 days. I can go ahead and write this check, right? You write that check and then you realize that,
Was that the only one that ever bounced a check back in the day?
And you know what? It costs more than the groceries sometimes. I remember that that actual bounce check fee really put me in a hole. And sometimes that's how we find ourselves in a relationship, in the hole, in the doghouse, right? On the other side of the door. That's never a good feeling, right?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, so more about you're not paying attention to me.
Right.
You missed my bid for connection. Do you guys remember that from last week? Where we talked about the bids for connections. So when I make a bid and you actually respond to my bid, cha-ching.
That's right.
Deposited a coin into my bank account.
That's right.
Right? Or when I need help, I said my neck was hurting. And so in those moments when you say, oh, come here, baby, let me rub your Nick, what's going on here? Ooh,
Ooh,
you're kind of
yeah.
tight there. What is going on? I just hopefully deposited a couple coins
Yeah.
into Reese's bank account.
And how
So,
that works with, and we'll talk about, maybe emotional, love languages at some other time on the program. But VaLisa knows what my primary
yes,
love language is physical
it's
touch.
physical touch.
So
So I
that's
know
always
that
going
if
to
I
make a
just say, "Oh,
deposit.
good job, buddy," and I maybe rub his back a little bit,
That's
I
always
am
going to
making some
some nice
deposits.
deposits.
It may
That's
not
right.
be dollar bills or $50 bills, but they're definitely some coins
Absolutely.
into the bank account, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
just wanted to say that.
Yeah. So what I wanted to share with you guys today is what are some of the things that we can do that will help make sure and ensure that we're making consistently good deposits. Once again, last week we talked about the power of yes, and so we're talking this week about some additional ways how you can say yes and what types of dividends that pays on your relationship when you do that on a regular basis. And so one of the things that you want to take a look at is this is super important is taking the time to understand your partner. The Bible says, I'm going to read this real quick in 1 Peter chapter 3. And this is a scripture that I relate to quite a bit, and I also share with a lot of couples that we work with. And this part of 1 Peter chapter 3, Peter is talking to and giving guidance and some wise information to husbands and wives about how to have a happy, positive relationship. And so this part, beginning in verse 7, is directly to the husbands. And it says, "Husbands, likewise, dwell with them," meaning their wives, "with understanding. Dwell with them," or live with them, abide with them with understanding, giving honor to the wife as to the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers may not be hindered. And so what I got from this is that Peter's saying that as husbands, and I think this relates to both spouses, even though this part is speaking directly to the husbands, there's something to be said about taking the time to understand. And so when we talk about active listening, one of the things that we're doing with active listening, right, VaLisa, is seeking to understand, listening to understand,
connecting with our partner,
and not listening to respond.
That's
or
right.
thinking about what you want to say in reaction or response or rebuttal, right? So the Bible is very clear here that we are to live with each other in understanding. And you know how my old saying, I like to say, you need to get your PhD
and your sweet tea.
in your sweet tea. So you're constantly trying to understand your spouse better. So a deposit in the love bank, one really, really good one, is taking the time to truly understand your partner's position or perception or their opinion about something, even if you don't agree with it.
That's
just
right.
validating them, right?
Yeah. So I just want to say that couples who stay together over the years, they maintain a high balance in their emotional bank accounts. Couples who have longevity in their relationships, they make more deposits and turn towards each other each day. So if you think about those couples who have been together forever, I do not believe it's just because they're there for convenience.
Right.
I do believe that they've been investing in each other.
Absolutely.
I hope to believe that they've been investing in each other over the long haul.
Yeah.
Right? And those who break up are often in the red. They're constantly, doing things to upset their partner. They're not there for them. They're not in their corner. They don't have their back. They are not emotionally invested in their partner. So therefore they stay underneath that healthy bank account. And guys, if you think about your savings, right? And you think about your anxiety, right? Bills. What did you say, Reese? I have more month. You used to have more month at the end of your bills.
Money.
Oh, right. More month at the end of your money.
Yeah.
You're so good at sayings. So I love that because back then you were probably on edge about your finances.
Absolutely. Very stressful.
I would hope that, I hope that we're in a better place where we're not always like agonizing over our finances and always like biting our teeth. Like, is that check going to go through this time? We don't want to be like that with our finances, and we don't want to be like that with our partner either. So those couples who are in the red, well, let me go back to my point. I apologize. So those couples who feel safety in their relationship and they feel secure, it's because they're maintaining a high balance. kind of
That's
like
right.
your deposit in your bank account.
Yeah, you
Your
feel
actual balance, I should say, in your bank accounts. You feel more secure and more safe when there's more money
yeah,
and you can spend in a way where you're a little bit more
yeah.
carefree,
Less stressful.
less stressed out. You can go on
Mm-hmm.
vacation. You can do the things you want. You can
That's
buy
right.
those heels that have been looking at you
Mm-hmm.
in the department store.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, okay, now I can go ahead and spend
That's right.
however much on those heels because it's something in your comfort zone.
Amen.
This is how we want to live in our actual emotional relationships as well.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Keep it in the black, y'all. We don't want to get in
Yeah.
the red in our bank accounts with our sweeties.
So what does a deposit look like,
So
Reese?
another deposit. So the first one we
Mm-hmm.
talked about is understanding.
Yeah.
Taking the time. It sounds so simple, but just taking the time to understand your partner. What is their perspective on something and validating them, right? So another one that's a real important was is expressing appreciation daily,
That's a
every
big
day.
one.
That's
That's a big
huge.
one.
So what that looks like really when we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about, your partner making bids or
Yeah.
they're doing things like VaLisa talked about last week, how I did this experiment when I was just saying yes and I was trying to be very intentional about it. When you see your partner doing something, even if something that they've been doing maybe for years or they've always done this in your relationship, just taking a moment to say thank you.
Thank you.
I
I
really
appreciate
appreciate
that.
that.
I see what you did. Let's just say I know you've been working all day long. You did
Mm-hmm.
not take a lunch break.
That's right.
And I go and I pick up some lunch for you.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I hopefully have deposited
Yeah.
some coins in your bank, but
Mm-hmm.
also for you to say, you know what, thank you. Oh my goodness, I was so hungry.
Mm-hmm.
This is my favorite Zaxby's, I don't know,
Yep.
Zoe's, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This is my favorite lunch and I really appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And one
That really makes my heart so happy because I'm words of
absolutely.
appreciation, y'all, and quality time.
Quality time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I also think another one that would fit for us personally is like, maybe in your household too, you guys have sort of divided up the different household chores. And so for the most part, VaLisa does most of the laundry for the family. And so, that's been pretty much the case since we've been married,
Mm-hmm.
so I could get very complacent with saying to her, hey, babe, thanks for doing the laundry or thanks for folding them and leaving my stuff on the bed so I can put them away. And it's really easy to take each other for granted,
Yeah.
and so we have to take the time to recognize and show appreciation.
Yeah.
That
In the big
puts
things and in the small
and in the
things.
small things, recognizing sometimes the insignificant things are huge because you begin to build a sense of appreciation. That person feels seen, your partner
Mm-hmm.
feels appreciated, valued, and not taken for granted. So um, definitely expressing appreciation to your sweetie
Yes.
on a daily basis is another really, really good one. And these are examples, once again, of making a deposit into your partner's love bank
Mm-hmm.
and showing personal integrity and keeping commitments. These come from Stephen Covey.
Mm-hmm.
When we are people of integrity and we keep commitments, it creates a certain level of trust. It creates a certain level of, they see us as a dependable, trustworthy person.
Mm-hmm.
And for your spouse, that really just brings a stronger, deeper sense of trust.
Yeah.
When I know that I can consistently rely upon you to be a certain way, to do a certain thing, and you keep your word, you're consistent.
Yeah.
Your word is your bond. Remember they used to say that back in the day? My word is my bond.
Old school.
That's old school.
Yeah.
But it really is. It really says a lot about who you are. And just because it is your spouse or your partner, it doesn't mean that, oh, we can take them for granted and say, oh, they'll cut me slack. They'll, not to say that grace isn't important, but you want to be a person of integrity and
That's
you want to
right.
keep your commitment. So if you say you're going to do something, you let your yes be yes, as it says in
And
Matthew,
5:37.
and your no.
Be your no. It says all you need to say is simply yes or no, and anything beyond this comes from the evil one.
Right.
So let your yes be your yes and your no be your no.
So that's really important. And for some people, that is extremely important. That is very important to them, that if you tell me you're going to do something and you
That's right.
follow through with it, that makes me feel really good. It makes me feel really safe. It feels like I can trust you. But then on the other hand, when you don't, or if you have a habit of going back on your word,
You don't have
ooh,
good credit with me.
no credit whatsoever. Yeah, you're going to get rejected at the supermarket.
I saw one thing that said, like, you're going to maybe get a loan for your business,
Mhm.
right? And you go into the bank and they pull up your credit report
Mm-hmm.
and they see all of these derogatory marks on your credit report.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're asking for a $100,000 loan for your new blossoming business,
Yeah.
and you can't get that because of all of the mistakes or all of the things that you did in the past. You didn't pay your bills on time, you opened up a card that you never paid, or you have outstanding debt that's just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
That is a negative remark or
Mm-hmm.
negative mark.
Yep.
And so you don't have good credit with me.
Mm-hmm.
Can't take that loan out.
And that can be very, very problematic in your marriage or your relationship when you are, communicating and you're making a commitment to something, or you're saying you're going to do something, and your partner starts to roll their eyes or start breathing because
That's
you
a pet
don't
peeve of
have,
mine.
if you do not have good credit, they're not really believing you, and that's not a good position to be in your relationship or in your marriage, where your spouse does not have confidence in you and does not have a sense of, I can depend on my spouse to come through when I need them, right? Because ultimately that's why we get married, to know that we have that one person, at least that one person that we know is always going to be there for us, is always going to have our back, right? And so if we continue to present ourselves as someone who's not trustworthy and not a person of our word, then it just creates a sense of insecurity and disconnect, and it does create these deficits in your partner's love bank. So that's really, really important that we make sure that we're tending to our integrity, and let's try to be really consistent with being people of our word, right? So that is the importance of integrity, keeping your commitments. I think another one that's really important is, and this is, I think, something that we've learned more and more, probably more recently than even maybe years past with the pandemic and running the practice and the kids, is just communicating your stress level to your partner. Helping your partner understand how stressed you're feeling, what's going on, because a lot of times we walk around with a lot of stress and our partner doesn't know just how bad it is. And so we wind up snappy or irritable or getting short, and they don't know where that's coming from.
I think
and
the other side of that too is that if you're noticing that your partner is edgy, short with you, instead of taking offense,
taking it personally,
taking it personally, what I want you guys to do is to maybe slow down, check in with your partner and say, hey, is everything okay? What's going on? Maybe if you just do something nice for them in that moment and say, hey, I noticed that you're not yourself lately. Let me go ahead and run your bath tonight. That way you can kind of get some of that edginess off from the day and relax. I'll take the kids out, maybe out of the house for a couple hours. You can go and watch a nice movie by yourself. That would be so nice, because I know sometimes those kids.
Some alone time.
Yes, it'd be so wonderful to have alone time. So slow down, notice your partner, do something special for them, and that will definitely make a deposit into their bank account.
And I think also we were learning some information not too recently from a workshop that we took about the importance of not making it such that your partner always has to pull information from you. What you want to do is move from a pull to a push. And so you're pushing information to your partner. I really like
this concept. When you first talked about this, I thought this was really great. Explain that a little bit more.
So the idea is that, if you're paying attention to yourself and you're understanding, what you're feeling, your mood, your stress level, you're living with this person who loves you and, may be able to support you and help you. But if nothing else, they need to know if you're struggling. And so a lot of times we want them to sort of kind of read our mind or read our body language. And certainly they could do that, but it's always much more of a healthier way when each person can push the information to their partner. So if you wake up and you've got a bad headache, or you wake up and you didn't sleep that well the night before, just give your partner a heads up and say, hey, I'm really struggling this morning. I'm having a hard time. I had a bad headache yesterday, and gosh, I woke up this morning and it still has not really gone away. And so that they know to help, maybe be a little bit more supportive of you, in that moment or during the day, because they know that you're kind of struggling. And so I think that also is a really, really good way to make a deposit. So your partner doesn't have to guess, and they don't have to be upset when you're maybe a little irritable, they know that it's something that they don't have to take personally. So I would like for us to talk about another way that we can go about making these wonderful deposits into our partner's love bank.
And what is that? And then
well,
I'm going to talk about something
absolutely, absolutely. I think one of the ones that's really important to me, and VaLisa knows this is important because I'm big on accountability.
Yes, he is.
That's one of the things that I've talked about from the time that we got together. That is really something that's a very important virtue for me, is being accountable. I really hold myself up to be a really accountable person, and it's not easy, but I see that that's something that's important to me personally. So that's definitely something I've always communicated to VaLisa. So for me, if I mess up, I try to make it my point to apologize. I try to, even if I feel like it was just a quick little, not a big deal or whatever, maybe I said something a little curt or something, I always try to acknowledge it and apologize for that. So apologize anytime you make a withdrawal.
That's
anytime
right.
you know you did something that let your partner down or disappointed them or whatever the case may be, try to be, and I guess this goes along with integrity too.
Yeah, definitely falls in line with that. And I wanted to say on the opposite side of that, this is a struggle of mine.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not an accountable person, it's just that I have a hard time coming back around. I am a recovering grudge holder. Right?
I like the recovering. A grudge holder in recovery.
I'm recovering, and
early remission.
I've come a long way. I'm definitely in remission because
Amen.
It's hard for me. I shut down. I no longer want to talk to that person. I basically don't want to say anything. Even if I'm sorry or I am accountable, I'll start doing better. I don't want to talk about it. I don't necessarily want to fess up.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say,
just want to move on.
Yeah, I just want to move on, get past it, keep on moving. But you want to talk about it, and therefore, and I also don't feel right until we discuss certain things. So that's one thing we've come a long way.
Absolutely.
Because before I just shut down and be like, anyway, what you want for dinner?
Keep it moving.
So I do want to say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you know that deposits and withdrawals are not created equal? They are not balanced. And basically it can take up to five positive interactions or deposits to make up for one withdrawal. Yeah. Right?
They are definitely not weighted the same.
They're not. And I also put here that we all, it's basically according to the human condition.
Right.
Because let's face it, some of us can be grudge holders. And so that's someone like me where
recovering grudge holder.
Recovering grudge holder. But if he's done something to get me upset or taken a withdrawal, then it's going to take me a long time to kind of get through that. And sometimes he has to kind of make dinner and take the kids out and do something. And I'm like, okay, now I'm coming around. I feel a little bit better now.
Yes.
But it should not be that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I really should be more graceful. I should understand that you are making an attempt. But that's just a human condition.
Yeah.
They're not created equal. So I want you guys to pay attention to those withdrawals that you're making because they are a 5-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
Okay?
So to offset, one negative, you got to do 5 good things to make up for it. And
so the good thing is to really think about is just to make deposits every day or as regularly as you can.
Very intentional.
You don't have to do these grand, grandiose gestures, or you don't have to do that. I saw someone take out a big banner, one of those things that flies across the sky. I love you. You don't have to do anything that big. You don't have to take her on vacation just because you messed up. Just consistently do what is right. Consistently focus on the good things in your relationship. Saying nice things, doing good things. So that's what I want you guys to focus on, the more little things and the big old things that you do once a year. That's going to be insignificant to me. I know for me it would be.
And guys, as we wrap up here, we just want you to understand that obviously we know everybody, is going to have a bad day or off week or something like that. And you're going to make, withdrawals from that love bank. What you don't want to do is not have enough in the bank to cover those times when you do have to make a withdrawal or you're having a bad day or a bad week. So that's, like VaLisa said, you want to be constantly building up that account with your partner so that if you do, hit a rough patch, you're not already in a deficit. And now you really don't have anything to draw from.
Build up that good credit with your partner.
That's right. That's right.
Make a conscientious decision to maintain high balances frequently.
That's right.
Always making, kind of like you would do in the stock market.
Yeah, you always want to
keep making the investments, moving that money
moving
around, moving to good
Yeah.
stocks and good places. You definitely want to make sure you're paying attention to your partner as well.
Absolutely. And so, this week, guys, we want to encourage you to take these first fruits, to go into this week and be very intentional about making positive deposits into your spouses, into your sweeties' love bank every day this week. If you do not have a whole lot built up in your bank accounts in your relationship, we want to encourage you guys, just take it one small step at a time. Every little time that your spouse turns to you or makes a bid for your attention, makes your bid for communication or to do something together, little by little, just say yes. One thing at a time.
It doesn't have to be anything big. Yep. Don't worry about what you messed up yesterday. Just start focusing on today. Renew your relationship today, and just keep going forward.
That's really the main idea here, guys, is the love bank. The love bank is something that you can intentionally replenish if you just focus on it. So this is what we want to leave with you guys for this coming week. Take some time to do that. Go ahead and drop some comments throughout the week in the village. Please. And let us know how you're doing.
We need y'all to be more interactive. And show those date night posts.
Show the pictures. Say hello to everybody. Introduce yourselves. Put those wedding
pictures up. We want to know about your love.
We
want to get in your business a little bit.
Absolutely. We also want to let you know that if you're in the area on the evening of Saturday, April 2nd, if you want to come by the Long Creek Church of Christ, which is at 720 Longtown Road in Columbia, VaLisa and I will be doing a wonderful couples workshop that night.
We're going to do a workshop. We're so excited.
You guys are in the area.
There's going to be food, y'all. Come on down.
So you guys come and join us on that night.
And guess what? It's free.
It is free. And so you guys come on down, have a nice date night. We'll do some wonderful exercises. We'll have a devotional, and
we'll have some connection games, icebreakers.
Just have a great time and fellowship that night. But VaLisa and I wanted to give you also some nice tips and tools for your marriage. And so again, April 2nd, it's a Saturday from 4 to 7 at the Long Creek Church of Christ. We'll be in the Family Life building, and we are excited to see you guys there.
Decorate it so it feels like a night out with your boo, with your honey, with your sweetie pie.
So we'll have some breakout sessions that night as well, so the ladies can go talk amongst themselves, and VaLisa will facilitate. In the she shed. VaLisa will facilitate that conversation, and then I'll be going with the fellas over to the man cave to facilitate some conversation for the husband. So we really hope you guys can make it out that night. We're really super excited about that. And we're excited about continuing to share this stuff with you guys every Sunday. So with that, we're going to wrap up, guys. Thank you so much again for joining us here on First Fruits Sunday and in the Village of Rock Solid Relationships. Let us know how it goes this week, y'all. And we will see you again on Friday evening for, again, another edition of Flirty Friday. So thank you guys so much again for joining us here on First Fruits Sunday. Again, it's Reese and VaLisa. And hey, y'all, spread the word about the Rock Solid Relationship.
Invite people. They're missing out on free advice for your marriage and your relationship. So tell them to come on in and join the village so that they can get this great information.
Stay tuned. We got some awesome stuff coming up, including a master class. So it'll be somewhat similar to the one that we're going to be doing at the church on the 2nd, but we got some really interesting things in store for you guys. So with that, you guys have an amazing week. We love you guys, and we'll see you on Friday for Flirty Fridays.
Thank you guys so much for coming out to the Village of Rock Solid Relationships for First Fruit Sundays. We're not flirty today.
Not yet.
Well, sometimes. Talk to you guys later.
Bye, everybody.
Take care. Be blessed.